Okay, clear.
Okay, thank you. Boleh nampak slide saya? Okay.
Boleh, Doktor, boleh.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning to everyone. So my name is Dr. Surayahani binti Suriani. I'm from Faculty of Electrical Engineering UTHM. Thank you to the moderator, Mr. Helmi. Thank you for inviting me into this webinar series. So today I'm going to uh, present about this topic, data science, mining from raw data to visualization. Okay, looking at the title, maybe you all already familiar with this term, data science, or maybe those who attend this webinar have some interest in what data science doing. Okay, interested in data scientist work, or maybe some of you might be intended to apply data science in your research and so on. Or maybe some of you may don't have any idea what is all data science is all about. Okay, so in this 1 hour webinar, so I will explain about what is data science, what data science do, and then why we need data science, what skills do we need to apply data science, and some ideas on how we can transform our data into more valuable insight, into more meaningful information based on the examples of project related to data science. I'm not going to into details on how we are going to do it. That one is more to tutorial, right? So this one is just on give some ideas on how we can explore data science in more depth. Okay. Okay. So okay. So first of all, let's throw back to the history of data science. So where does this term actually came from? From before data science, we popularized the term data mining in this article called From Data Mining to Knowledge Discovery in Databases, which is in 1996. Okay, in which it referred to the overall process of discovering useful knowledge from data. And then in 2001, this guy named William Skripline, he wants to bring data mining into another level by combining computer science with data mining. Okay, so basically he makes statistics to a lot more technical, and then he believed that data mining, which is can compute power for statistics. So he called this combo of data science with data mining as a data science. Okay. So around this time, early 2000, if you still remember Web 2.0 start emerged, this is not just a website. It is a medium for people to start sharing experience among millions of users in the world. So there are websites like Friendster in 2002, MySpace in 2003, Facebook in 2004, YouTube in 2005, okay, Twitter in 2006, Instagram start in 2010, and TikTok in 2019. So with all these medium, we can interact with the website. That means we can contribute to post, even to comment, or to like and upload, and to share our thought, to post pictures, to upload videos. In this also called as a social media. So we are now living in this beautiful landscape of ecosystem that we love. We love, right, the most today, which we call this all as internet, right? So there's a lot of data, so much data that became very difficult to handle. using traditional technology. So now we discovered this new term called as a big data. So this big data open a lot of possibility of finding insight using the data. Okay. So when we do have a lot of data, we need a power. We need a supercomputer to compute the technology, supercomputing technology. Okay, so the rise of big data in 2010 sparked up the rise of data science to support the needs of business to draw insight from this massive unstructured data set, because we have so much data, include the text, include the video, and include the images, so much data. So what does this and the big data, the data was very in terms of the volume, in terms of the velocity, in terms of the variety, and also the veracity. So what all these terms means? Let's look at this all one by one. So this is a big data volume. So big data volume refers to our digital footprints. So much happening every minute. We can travel very quickly across this cyberspace. We leave our footprint every second. We jump from the Facebook and then go to YouTube and go to Instagram and then go to Netflix. Every second we cross to all this cyberspace. So we actually generate huge of data every day. So not just that, so even the data that gathered from the sensors, from Internet of Things, IoT system, also create a lot of data, and it's all increasing every day. So this is what we call as a big data volume. Okay. What about big data velocity? Big data velocity is referred to the speed to generate the data. When we read and then we pass the data from the database uh, to the uh, the medium that we want to be displayed. So this data is generated and pushing at the different rates. So this is what we call the high big data velocity. High velocity data needs a very high processing techniques. For example, data that is generated with high velocity would be video streaming data, Twitter, post, and etc. So we can see that every second we have 68,000 plus tweets. Google data, around 700,000 status updates on Facebook and so on. So once we start transfer data and we start posting data, that is what we call as a big data velocity. Okay, the next one is about big data variety. So big data variety is we generate a lot of unstructured data every time we start posting and so on. Okay, so this is only for the unstructured data generated by even by human, even by the machine, even by the sensors. We generate a lot of unstructured data. Okay, most common are the text, the pictures, videos. Okay, so all this variety is about the with all this variety. So variety is about the ability we can classify this incoming data into various types of categories. Okay. So next is the problem about big data is the veracity. Veracity is meant for data quality, which we cannot trust all data coming from all sources. So data veracity means refers to some bias, some noise, some abnormality in the data. So we cannot make a good decision with the uncertain data. So this is what we call a problem in big data veracity. So how they, I'm referring to the data scientists, how they obtain all this data. Before they start doing analysis, of course, they need a real data to be analyzed. So how they obtain all this data? it's from you, right? It's from us. They get all this data from us. So be careful. Whatever we share on social media, whatever we post, whatever we tweet in the social media, these people's we so called as the data scientists will retrieve all this information to analyze, to interpret into some valuable information to be used by another person. Okay, so some information might be good to improve their product. For example, you may tweet about the latest iPhone. Okay, so they will analyze all this review. They will analyze all this review and then they use this to improve their product. Okay, maybe you tweet about the battery, maybe you tweet about the charger and so on. So they will review this, all your review and analyze that and to improve their product. But some information might be dangerous. Okay, it might affect our privacy, it might affect our security. So be careful to whatever we share. Okay. Okay. So okay. So now back to data science. Okay. So what is data science? Okay. Referring to this journal of data science means almost everything that has something to do with data. Okay, collecting, and then you do analyzing, you do modeling. Okay, so most important part is application. Okay, all sorts of application. Yes, all sort of application can use this data science. Okay, just like machine learning. Okay, then starting in 2010, it is possible to train a machine with data-driven to become a knowledge-driven approach. So this is where data science starts, where we use inference to turn data into knowledge, okay, by using this machine learning. Okay, so this is what you call as data science. We change or we infer data that we have, we turn it into the knowledge that the machine can understand. Okay. Okay. So before we go further details, let's see some difference or details regarding all these terms that you might know this before. Okay. So let's get some better understanding with the differences between this AI, artificial intelligence, this machine learning, deep learning, and against data sciences. Okay. Okay. Let's start with artificial intelligence first. AI is a collection of mathematical algorithm that makes computer understands the relationship between different types of data and utilize it to draw a conclusion to make a decision. Okay, so you must have enough data to train the AI model to get the higher accuracy, to do prediction or to make a decision. Okay, for example, in medical imaging, so we use AI to detect some disease or detect some illnesses. Okay, for example, in financial industry, maybe they use AI to detect frauds in financial transaction, like that. Okay, so what about machine learning? Machine learning is a subset of AI. So as we can say that machine learning is an implementation of AI. So when you think about AI, you can think applying machine learning in your AI model. Okay, so again, machine learning is the learning algorithm. So to do some predictions, to do clustering, to do organization, to do categorization, classification, and then to make a decision. Okay. So what about deep learning? Okay, deep learning is discovered starting in 1999 until now. Okay, so deep learning is the advanced mode of machine learning. So deep learning used to fill the gaps in machine learning. When you have a lot of data with so many features, we can use deep learning to solve this problem. So normally deep learning requires a lot of a much powerful hardware, programming hardware, that's a supercomputing to speed up the computation times because the data is huge. So you might heard about this TensorFlow or Keras. This is a neural network that using a deep learning model. Okay, so there are many applications that use deep learning. For example, Spotify. Okay, they are using deep learning to improve their recommendation on what you are going to on what kind of song that suit to you. Okay, so they are making this decision based on user engagement, such that like a Netflix also, okay, they are trying to improve their recommendation for you to which movie that you might be have interest, okay, based on user engagement, based on the ratings, okay. So it's such that this like a Netflix, they do this recommendation to show that whether this movie worth their money, or then they can continue production and so on. Okay, while which shows they need to stop because this is wasting their mind, their time, wasting their money and so on because nobody want to watch that. Okay, so that is the purpose of uh, an example of using deep learning. Okay, so what about data science? Data science is interdisciplinary research, which covers all fields that has skill in various fields, okay, such as statistics, machine learning, visualization, and so on. Okay, so it is a general process and method to analyze and manipulate our data to find some meaningful information, okay, and appropriate information from large volume of data. All right. So the idea of data science is to solve the problem. All right. Okay, this is why we use data science to solve this kind of problem. We use data to make a decision, especially in business, in science, in technology, and even in politics. Okay, here are a few examples. I show you that data science is important. For example, in autonomous driving, they use of traffic data, road data, to reduce the self-driving car crash event like this. Okay, so using data analysis, self-driving car can adjust the time limits, can try to avoid the dangerous lanes changes, and they even can take passengers to the fastest route. Okay, so they use this kind of data analysis, science analysis. Okay, in this aviation industry, so they take aviation data, they take passengers data, and etc. They use to derive a new process, or they want to improve. That they want to improve. For example, the airport or airline process of operation and so on. Okay. Another example is in the logistic industry. Okay. So data science analytics is very important to them. They use this to improve the manufacturing and also the delivery process. Okay, so data science analysis can create optimal routes for deliveries based on the weather, for example, based on the traffic, based on the construction, and etc. So, so using data science, there is a logistic company to save fuel, and also they can drive efficient delivery months and the year. Okay. Okay. Mostly data science are used in business purposes. Okay, because you know that data is the revenue. I'm sure you have heard this before. That data is king now. That is because of data analytics. The more data that you have, the more business insights you can generate. Okay, so using data science, we can uncover patterns, the data that we didn't know that this kind of pattern even existed. Okay, so companies using data science to build recommendation engines and predict user behavior. Okay, for example, when you shop at Shopee apps, okay, they're actually collecting your interest, your data behavior. When you're browsing product, you notice that they will recommend certain product that you might have an interest to, right? Okay. So we now go to the real process. What does data science do? So these are all the process. Okay. So like I just mentioned just now, data science used to solve problem based on the real data. Okay. The data will be in raw format because it is unstructured. Mentioned just now is unstructured in terms of that, in terms of tweets, in terms of videos and so on. So there are several steps that we need to perform to convert these raw data to useful information, useful insight. Okay. So some processing needs data acquisition, data cleaning, data visualization, and also data modeling. Okay, that can be used to predict the this future information. Okay. So among all these key steps, we is data visualization. All right. So that one is our focus today. So this is the first and uh, the important step to get the high level statistic overview for the meaningful data, which shows how the data is present and some attributes for the data, like the distribution, how the distribution, is there any outliers, and also several more information features, useful, very useful features. Okay, but the thing is, data science is not just writing the code or to do processing or just making a beautiful graph to visualize the data. It is actually on how we can make an impact from our data. Okay? It is important to get the useful information, useful insight, so that our data product, or we can do some product recommendation based on our analysis. Okay, so that is the purpose of data science. Okay, so we go this this stage one by one first. Okay, so first is about data collection. So where we need the data, of course, otherwise we cannot do data analysis, right? Okay, so how actually we do data collection? Okay, it is a world data, real data, okay, and the data source is now open. We can get through the social media, from news, or even from the website. Okay. Another sources can be from data collection using this what we call as the API, application programmable interface. Okay, which is API is the back end interface. So every time you use an app like a Facebook to send a message and to maybe to check weather today on your phone, and then you are using API. Okay, so API is the interface to collect data from social media in a programmatic way. Okay, so using this API, so researchers studies the behavioral patterns of users, internet users in and across every social media services. Okay, so since this API platform actually honor we actually expose some of the portion of our data to uh, to the others. Okay, so to the others, and then these people can use a portion of our data to do analysis. Okay. Okay, this one is example when you tweet something, so there are always these people is always there to get to retrieve all these data and store in the data warehouse. Okay. Okay, so the next stage is data processing. Okay, once they collect all this data, they store in this data warehouse before they start doing this processing. Okay, so when we have all this data, we don't mine data mining, right? We don't mine it, then it's going to be useless. Okay, so when we so next is we want to process all this data. Okay, so this process is getting the data that we store in the warehouse. Okay, so in this data warehouse, this data contains metadata. Metadata which unstructured data, which is the raw data. Okay, so in this data warehouse, actually they are collecting the data, they organizing the data, and then they transform it into the structured data. Okay, for further processing. We want to optimize it, we want to analyze it for further processing. Okay, so this structured data coming from the data warehouse is become the structured data. And from the data warehouse, they want to transmit for the data mining purposes. Okay, so the data mining stage involve data cleaning, data reduction, and also data transforming. Okay, so this at this stage is they want to do analysis to discover the patterns, to discover the relationship, and also the insight from the data. Okay, so let's look at this step on data mining step by step. Okay, so the output from this data will be pre-processed for modeling. Okay. Okay, next is let's look at this one. This step one by one, which is the data cleaning first. So since we have a lot of data, the structured data coming from the warehouse just now, uh, but not all the data that coming from the warehouse is useful. We need to clean up the what we so called as the dirty data. Okay, we need to clean up all this first, removing all these any duplication or any data that is not available. Okay, like for this example, it should be the age should be in number. Okay, so we need to rewrite this, and then at this point there is no data, no available data. So this data might be missing. So uh, assume that certain value for this data. Okay. Maybe this seller Lisa was sick on that day, so the sales there might be less than 100, for example, like that. Okay, so this is data cleaning, which is very important to remove the uh, duplication or to assume the missing data. Okay. So next is the data transformation. Okay, data transformation is about you transform the data to another form. Okay, maybe you do some reshape, you do some sorting, or you do you combine some data for analysis. Okay, like this one. We have two tables just now, the seller, the age, the sales, and then whether this seller have a own transport or not. So we combine all these two tables. Okay, so we combine into this, right? We combine and then we do maybe sorting. We sort from which seller have the highest sales. Okay. Okay, and then you do some sorting. Okay, that by the sales, and then this is the final table after we do after we combine these two tables. Okay, so so now the data that you have is now well structured. Okay, like this. Okay, so now it's easier for us to analyze and look at the patterns. All right. And in data processing, the most important part also the data reduction. Okay, data reduction is the process that we want to reduce the volume of the original data, and then we want to represent it in a smaller volume so that we can do processing very fast. Okay, so we can reduce the data processing time. Okay, so there are a few techniques applies in this data reduction, such as the filtering. Okay, we filter only some data. Okay, so uh, okay, we filter only some data. Maybe like the previous one. This one, the seller name might be not our interest. Okay, we want to analyze the age, the correlation or the relationship, the age with the sales, like that. Okay, or the sales with the whether they have the transport and then they have the high sale or not. Okay, so maybe the seller's name is not important. So we remove unnecessary information. Okay, and then we get a random sample out of 1 million data. Maybe we don't want to analyze all the data, so we just take some random sample out of 1,000 instead of 1 million data, right? So this is a data reduction. Okay, we do some filtering. Okay, to consume a less resources to process in a to reduce the processing time. Okay. So that one is the data processing. Before we transfer this data into our model. Next is the data mining. Okay. So now we go to this stage. Okay, what kind of technique that we can do to mine our data? Okay. So data mining is after we prepare our data. Okay, so now we go to the data mining process, which is involve the uh, uh, mining the data into the knowledge. Okay, so we want to infer from the data into become a knowledge. Okay, so we need to have this kind of model applied here, and then at this point it actually required multiple disciplines. Okay, maybe from the machine learning, from the programming side, from the AI side, from the statistical field, and then also from the pattern recognition and also the database system. So there are a lot of fields can be uh, at this point, at this data mining process, okay, where we want to convert the data into knowledge, okay, so that they will give us intelligence data, okay. So these are few techniques for data mining, which is whether you want to predict the values, or you want to do some categorization, or you want to do some preferences or association. Okay, if then you want to do some clustering by grouping, or you want to find any abnormality in your data. Okay, so this technique that you want to apply is actually based on the objective that we determine in the first part. Okay, so if you want to carry out all these things, you need to look at what is the suitable techniques you can apply. Okay, for example, like this, if you want to do prediction, and then maybe the linear regression or decision trees techniques is suitable. If you want to do classification, maybe you can do using regression, logistic regression, or support vector machine SVM, or you can do using decision trees. Okay. If you want to find association, like a recommender system, so you can do this what we call as a content-based filtering method. Okay. If you want to do clustering, discovering multiple groups, you can use k-means or clustering. Okay. To find the abnormality, so these are the techniques using KNN or one sample, one class SVM support vector machine. Okay. So let's go through these types of data mining into, let's go to these data mining techniques one by one. Okay, the first one is regression. Okay, what does regression? For example, like this, uh, linear regression, for example, this is more to statistical technique. We want to study the correlation and also the strong relationship between these two variables. Okay, it just saying the relationship, but not why why this causing happen. Okay, it's just saying the correlation is exists. It don't tell us why it is related. Okay, for example, like this, the sales of the ice cream is increasing, and the sale of the as the sale of the sunglass is increasing, the sale of the ice cream also increasing. That is the relationship. We don't know what is the cause for this case. Okay, do the sunglass causing the ice cream craving, for example? We don't know. Okay, or the ice cream cause a sensitivity to the sun? We don't know. Okay, we just know that these sunglass have a strong relationship with the ice cream. Okay, as the sunglass will increasing, the sales ice cream will be increasing. Okay, so that is a regression. You want to find the relationship or the correlation between these two variables. Okay. Next one is classification. Okay, once you have the data that we want to classify or we want to map it into different group or classes, so we do put label. We label our data. This may be presented using a decision tree like this. Okay, we classify the age into more than 18 or less than 18. So whether this person eligible for to having a driving license or not. Okay, or looking at this Google News, we can see the categories. You can see the categories, the COVID-19 news, and then the nation news, the world news, the business news, technology, or entertainment news. So we group these into different category, different classes. Okay. So the next technique is you do preferences or association. So this is actually relate with pattern tracking. Okay, which is dependently attributes, link attributes. So we develop a model to look at the attributes that are having high correlation with another attributes. Okay, for example, when you want to buy this watch, it's a specific item, this watch, and then the apps also recommend you to add a second item, okay, which related to the first item, okay, or maybe they recommend the second item which is related. For example, you want to buy the flower, and then they recommend you the vase, okay. So these are preferences association, which item relate to which item. So they use these data mining techniques. Okay. Next is about clustering. Okay, you can cluster the data, you can group the data based on the similarity or dissimilarity into different groups. Okay, for example, in business, in marketing, you have discovered several groups of customer. You discover several group of customer, but it is a wasting of your marketing strategies or your money if you spend your money to market to all customer, to all potential customer. So what you need to do is you need to cluster your customer into different age, different income, different region, for example. All right, and then you know that which customer is your targeted customer. So they use this technology to develop a targeting marketing plan. Okay, so you only sell or you only market your brand, you only market your product into this targeting customer. So you save a lot of money for marketing. So this is clustering. And the last technique is about finding the anomaly and abnormality, or finding the outlier. Okay, so it is actually about you want to figure out when something is no longer in their normal behavior. Okay, so you want to give an alert when something is not normal. Okay, this may be applied to various types of application. For example, in elderly force monitoring system, you want to detect whether he or she might be fall, okay, during their normal activities, or maybe you want to detect malfunction in a real-time system for fraud detection, for example, and many more. You want to find the abnormality in your system. Okay. So that is the process of data mining. Okay, you have the data, and then you store the data in the warehouse, and then you process the data, you prepare, you do some preparation, you do cleaning, you do reduction, you do transformation, and then this data is now ready. So then you transmit for data mining. Okay, so in data mining, there are a lot of methods just now, like I just mentioned just now. So you can choose based on what is the objective or the purposes of your study. Okay. So next is what you need actually. You need to learn this data science by looking at the overall process just now. So you can see that all this stuff requires some skills or knowledge. Okay, so first we need this machine learning knowledge. Okay, because machine learning is the backbone for this data science. It is one of the many ways that data science used to find the solution to a problem. Okay. Secondly is the mathematical model. Mathematical models, which is helpful to make fast calculation and do prediction from what you know about your data. Okay, and also the statistic, which used as the foundation for this data science. And then you can extract the information, the knowledge of the statistic by obtaining the result from the data. And then for computing, of course, you need some programming skills. So I would recommend you to use Python or R for data modeling. And finally is the database. Okay, you need to query for database. Otherwise, we don't have data to analyze. Okay, meaning that we must get from the data collection just now, or you can also ask your customer or user in order for you to get more data to be analyzed. Okay, so now let's look at the tools. Okay, that we can use for data analysis in machine learning to visualize the data or in the data warehouse. Okay, so these are some skills that we need to that needed for us to run the data analytics. Okay, data analytics and machine learning require the programming skills, and the common one is the Python. For data warehousing is more to computer science, while data visualization is everybody can do this. Okay, without knowledge in programming, you can use this data visualization using W. Okay. So data science and big data analysis is you can use this Jupyter or W for data visualization. Okay. Okay. Oops. Okay. So now we came to the final part for this topic, which is the data visualization. Okay. So you have heard this before, a picture is a worth of 1,000 words, right? Okay, when we see a picture and then we know what they want to give information. Okay. So data visualization is the technique that they present the data in a pictorial or format or the graphical form. Okay. The data in the graphical form allows us to identify the patterns, the trends very easily. Okay, so that's why data visualization is important. Okay, imagine that you are a sales manager, that the company plans to study the sales details for each product across all the regions and all the countries, for example. So we use this data visualization. Okay, we use this to identify which product has the highest skills in the particular region, and then which product that we can upscale the production. So when all this huge data we form in a graph, it is easier for us to see the patterns and also to get the result very accurately. Okay. So from this visualization also we can see the relationship between the variable, between the product attributes, for example. Okay. And the important part is from data visualization is we can identify which area we can improve. Okay. So these are the example for data visualization, right? By which one is easier to pick up? Is the table form or the graphic form? Right? Yes, of course, the graphic form is easier for you to pick up the which country has the lower unemployment rate. Okay, by looking at the graphic. Okay, so this graphic can convey our message very fast. Okay, and then this one. Okay, which one is easy to read? Okay, reading the text or just looking at the map? Okay, so looking at the map is easier to see which to see the distribution. Okay, which one is higher, right? So so it is easier to interpret all these large volume of data because human eye can immediately focus to the main information. Okay. Okay, this is another example. Uh, the dashboard. Dashboard is very important for seller, for example. Okay, for example, this is a Shopee seller dashboard. This dashboard display the real-time sales for your product, so we can compare. We can compare the current sale, which is today. We can compare with the previous date. Okay, so we can see the pattern. Okay, we can see the patterns compare from today with the previous one. All right, and then we can also we can predict. So we can predict. This is the area that we can predict our sales for today. Okay, the upcoming sales. Okay, and then we can as that this is how data scientists do in various types of application. Okay, we can see also which product has the top selling. So the insight from this data visualization helps the companies to strategize their business. Okay. Now look at the tools. Okay, as I mentioned previously, one of the tools is that for data analysis is Python. And the common one and the simplest text editor is Atom. Okay, Atom text editor. This one is free and open source text editor for Linux, for Windows with a plugin written in JavaScript and embed in a Git control. Okay, most of the package here are free and already built up by the open source community. Okay, so you can subscribe in GitHub, and then you can have a lot of example of package from here. Okay. So for data visualization, using Atom just now, we can have this special library, what we call as the matplot library. Okay, so we can use this library in Python. Okay, this library is 2D, two-dimensional plotting library that helps us to visualize the figures. Okay, which similar like MATLAB. When you do MATLAB, you want to plot the graph, you want to do visualization, but MATLAB is not free, right? And it's very difficult to scale, and also the programming language also very tedious. Okay, so this matplot library using Python is actually more robust and free, and The best part is very easy library for data visualization. Okay. As usual, for visualization, you can create a histogram, you can create a chart, you can create a time series plotting, you can have a box plot, you can have a scatter plot, step plot, and many more. Okay, using this matplot library. Okay, let me show you some example on how step by step on to start plotting using this matplot library. Okay, first step is you must import the necessary library, which is the NumPy. Okay, NumPy is used to generate random numbers. Okay. Next is pyplot. Pyplot is the Python libraries which used to plot the numbers. Then you can style this using a style setting. Okay, if you want to set for grid style. Okay. And second step is required to define the data sets using NumPy random method. Then you can use print. You can use print this. Okay, to view the created random numbers. Okay, like this one, we create 10 random numbers. So we generate this using print 10 random numbers. Okay. The third step is you want to plot. Okay, you want to start plotting. Okay, so in this plot, we set the plot style. We use this ggplot as the plot style, and then this G means the green line. One line with the width is 2, and then we can put some legends here. We can label our x and y axis, and also set the title as the first plot. Okay, so finally the last step is to display. Okay, we use legend method to plot, and then we choose the show method to display the plot. Okay, so you can see that the code is easier to understand and it is readable. If you want to display that show. If you want to print, you want to see the numbers, the data, then you just print. Okay? It is very readable. Okay. Okay. So this is an example of using matplot library. This is a part of my work actually. You want to extract the pulse rate based on the facial image. So these are raw color signals, the R, G, and B. We can refine it to form the PPG signal. Okay. So we from this PPG we estimate the pulse rate. Okay. So the signal suppression this and also the mixture of the signals, we use matplot library. Okay, we can discover the patterns and also we can identify the peak to peak interval to estimate the pulse rate. Okay, so after this point, then we can do a data modeling. Data modeling or data mining just now you can do using a machine learning or statistical techniques to do prediction or to find the correlation and so on. Okay, so that one use matplot library in Python. The other one for data visualization is using plotly. Okay, which is also a free open source library. And the best thing, this one, we can make an animated chart in offline mode. Okay, we can get much better looking and interactive, which is more interactive. Okay, we can click the data and we can see the details. We can zoom, we can intersection of the plot, or maybe we can select different categories to highlight from this chart. Okay, and also we can plot in a 3D surface. Okay, maybe you want to do for agriculture, you want to do for this flight monitoring system, so we can plot, we can visualize it in 3D surfaces. Okay. Okay, so up till now, maybe you have some interest to with data scientist work. So here are some of the example that you can try first. You can try the code and try to run it in your platform first. Okay, so these are related project using Python to detect the fake news. Okay, it differentiates between the real and the fake news on the internet. Okay, the idea is you count the number of times the word appear in the document. Okay, the higher the value means the term appears more often. Okay, then the passive aggressive classifier. This algorithm is the online learning algorithm which remain as passive for correct classification outcome. And then they will turn the aggressive event or any miscalculation to update and to adjust. Okay. So the output will be like this: which document, which news are fake, which news are the one are real. Okay. Another example is the sentiment analysis. This one is using R. So sentiment analysis is the process of you can extract the opinion that have different polarities. Different polarities means we who have the positive comment, who have the negative comment, or who are neutral. Okay. It is also known as the opinion mining or polarity detection. Okay, so that you can find out the nature of the opinion that is reflected in the document or in the website or in the social media feeds and so on. Okay. So this cloud will enable us to visualize the negative as well as the positive group of data. Okay, so we can have a different groups of data based on the sentiment. Okay, we can also experiment this using several other data like a tweets. Okay, so that you can gain more insight with the sentiment analysis. Okay. Let's move on to another advanced project, which is a chat box project. Okay, this one also data science application. Chatbot, you know that this is used to handle a customer automatically when you ask the customer asks frequent questions. So this chatbot will answer automatically. So this will reduce the manpower and also the time. Okay. For example, just like the Asian live chat, okay, we can interact. They can interact with the customer by answering some questions. Okay, but sometimes that live chat also lousy, right? Okay. Okay. Well, this project requires a lot of data. You need to train a lot of data, okay, so that we can customize the answer very smartly, okay, and very efficient. Okay. Okay. Another advanced project is this movie recommendation. Okay. Just like Netflix, so which recommend you the movies that might be similar to the one that you have watched before in the past. Also, this is using collaborative content filtering. Okay, the association just now like mentioned. Okay, that provide you with the recommendation. Okay, based on the user who might have some similar viewing interest or history or preferences like you, so they will recommend uh, the new movie to you. Okay, so they get this recommendation based on the user preferences or based on the browsing history. Okay. And this is another project, very advanced project for the security firm. Actually, this firm, they are using data science and machine learning to detect new samples of malware every day on a daily basis. Okay, huge amount of malware samples were taken, and they're able to detect automatically and learn the new methods of cybercrime through this data science. Okay, because it is very essential, it is very important for our safety and our security in the future. Okay, so you guys can try some related project in data science. You can download the public data set from the available sources like the Google Cloud, like the GitHub, Kaggle, and many more. Okay, you can also search the data online. You can download it and then you can try visualize the data using the tools that I mentioned previously. Okay. Okay, I say we have come to the final part, I think. What time is now? Okay, so we put this into conclusion. Okay, we not only determine and not just determining and visualization and also machine learning. It is the important. All these are important aspect for the data science. Okay, so when we have the data and then we mine it and then we get profit. Okay, profit means we have the insight knowledge from our analysis. Okay. So you may have heard this before. The world's most valuable resources now is no longer oil, but data. Okay, where we can discover more to have a better insight and to drive our data to become a knowledge. Okay, so I think that's all for my presentation. Go back to moderator, Mr. Helmi.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Suraya for the very interesting topic about the data science. So it's very useful and informative talks. So I would like to open, is there any question from the audience pertaining this topic? You may ask the Dr. Suraya, please.
Hello, Assalamualaikum, doctor.
Yes.
Assalamu.
Doctor, I have a question regarding the finding anomalies. What methods will you recommend for finding any anomaly as compared to the standard sample? Like if I have say time domain sample in time domain, so if I want to compare it with the standard one, so what methods will you recommend?
Okay. For example, you want to find the abnormality in the heartbeat, okay, in time domain. So you can use what we call this. You can use this deep learning method. You can use deep learning. There are like a CNN method, okay, or LSTM method to discover the anomaly in time domain. Okay, I've done this one in for my I have one student doing this for my master project. So he did for finding anomalies in we call this heartbeat detection. Okay, in heartbeat detection to find the anomalies and to find or to find the illness or the disease or when this person might have uh, sudden attack. Okay, so we formed this using time domain. Okay, and then we use deep learning, which is CNN method to do the to detect the disease. Okay.
Okay. Any question? Any more question from the audience? Okay, I have one question from the chat from the Dr. Nohafiza Ismail. Suggest the best mechanism to integrate data science application in order to ensure secure data processing and protection for sensitive data.
For specific data,
Sensitive data.
sensitive data.
Yes.
Um, if you you ask me on the suggestion of method, I don't know which one is the best. Okay, actually, uh, this part is more on the security purposes, right? So um, when we try to do on analysis on this part, okay, uh, normally I've never done this kind of project before, but I've just read a few related to this kind of work. Okay, uh, mostly they use the R modeling, and then in terms of the mining techniques, there are actually a lot which is based on what you want to achieve first. Okay, if you, just like I mentioned just now, what is the purpose of your doing that? If you want to find the abnormality, if you want to do some characterization, so different types of techniques, they will have different types of methods on how you are going to do that. Okay, so I'm not doing this kind of thing, so I just read it. So most time are using R modeling, uh, and also some but mostly on that one. Okay.
Right. So this is basically depends on the behavior of the data as well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, there is another question from the chat. In your opinion, can we do experiment or analysis using WEKA, rapid miner, or any data mining
Yes,
tools for research?
yes, yes. We can do this using rapid miner or any data mining tools. Yes.
All right.
Ya, Tasha?
Again, but depends on the data that you
Ya.
have. Again, depends on the nature of data that you have. Okay.
Okay.
Saya main. Saya kan pergi ambil Syah dalam pukul 12. Lepas tu hantar tu, lepas tu pergi beli makanan lah. Bungkuskan, lepas tu saya balik lah.
Ya.
Okay.
Boleh.
Dalam pukul 12 lah saya main.
All right. So if there is no question, so we can end this webinar session. Thank you very much for Dr. Suraya for your willingness to share with us with the interesting topic of the data science, which is basically is not a new thing. So it's a new term, but it's not a new thing, okay, because it's already been there for a long time from the machine learning perspective. All right. So with that, thank you very much for all the participants to participate in this webinar, and perhaps we can meet the next week for the next session of the webinar. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you to all.
Thank you very much.